Thanks for joining us for this NBC5 Community Conversations. I'm Vince Sims. We are joined by Dr. Angela Walker. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We're excited to talk to you. Obviously, we're going to be talking about your books. We have these set up here. But first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I grew up in Dallas-Fort Worth area. Went to Texas A&M undergrad and then to Georgetown School of Medicine. Went into OBGYN, trained in Houston, and I've been an OBGYN for the last 25 years. I am a wife, mother of two beautiful daughters, and just excited to be here. And I'm here because of our book. Recently wrote the book, The Game Plan, Women's Guide to Becoming a Doctor and Living a Life in Medicine, to help hopefully make someone else's journey and path a little bit brighter as far as shining the light and avoid some pitfalls and make it more joyful.
Well, let's go and jump right in talking a little bit more about the book. Where did this idea come from and how did you go about with it?
So there are 5 authors. My girlfriend's from medical school, and we have been taking an annual girls trip after residency for 20 plus years. And about 10 years ago, we were in Newport Beach, California, sitting around a table, which we eat often when we're on our trip, and just talking about what we wish we had known, what we wish maybe someone had told us prior to getting into medicine, and then definitely along the route, and maybe would have made our journey a little bit easier, maybe not so many surprises along the way, and thought, well, we could do something to, other than just being, mentors, which we all were at that point, and so decided to write a book. And that's pretty much how it got started, was from that conversation.
All right. So obviously, everybody that's involved, this all women of color that went in on this. Why is it important for you and your friends to have this type of guide out there for others to follow?
Yeah, it's interesting because the women of color part just became more evident after we started, when we started talking about the book, and obviously, know the need, but we were more or less just talking about women, and we are women. This is what we go through. These are some challenges that maybe some of our male counterparts haven't had to deal with. And then certainly now, as the journey has taken us to this point in time, we've recognized the need to highlight the fact that as women of color, we can certainly do this, and the need for us out here in the community, and hopefully give a guide to those that maybe doubting or just don't have the the guidance and encouragement to get into medicine.
This is a book for all women. That can be a guide for them.
Yes,
definitely. So let's talk a little bit about your journey and your background. What were some of the issues maybe that you saw or faced coming along that you're talking about sharing?
So my journey is interesting. Probably you'll hear a lot of doctors say, I knew I wanted to be a doctor from a very young age. I can remember from the age of 5 when somebody asked you what you wanted to do. I don't know where it came from. I didn't have any physicians that I had seen in my family. I didn't go to the doctor. I never got sick. So it wasn't as if there was someone in my life that was out there. I just knew I wanted to help people, which a lot of doctors will tell you. I liked science. I liked a lot of, subjects, but I was pretty good at science, and so it just seemed like, the one thing that stuck. Definitely didn't have any female role models or mentors. I just knew the steps that I was told, I needed to try to do well in school, major in biology when I got to college, and then, from there, you go to medical school. I had some, road bumps along the way in college. I had a couple classes. I'm just being honest, I pledged and I didn't do well in a semester. My grade wasn't exactly where it needed to be. And so that first step into trying to, get into medical school was a little bit rough. And so I ended up talking to an advisor and saying, okay, I don't know, maybe this isn't, for me. Maybe I can't cut it. What else can I do? And at that point, this is happenstance, someone from pharmaceutical company was present. I interviewed and went into pharmaceutical sales thinking, oh, this is a good job. Oh, okay, I can use biology. I had a company car off the bat, was making a good salary, and thankfully, God had something else in mind and was in the path of some physicians that we were able to actually see what they did and kind of brought you in the fold. I went with the cardiologist, saw, cath lab and some procedures that were done, gastroenterologist doing a colonoscopy procedure, surgery, and thought, okay, I need to rearrange my path. This is probably a long answer to your question.
It's fine, though. We got the time.
But the fact of the matter is I really didn't have anyone at the time to tell me, okay, you could have done this, you could have done that. I just kind of found out on my own. So I didn't have the mentors that said, okay, yeah, you may not have done so well, but you can still, bump up your GPA. You can, do these other things in the field of medicine, maybe not working as a physician, that will get you, closer to your path of wanting to go into medical school. So for me, I ended up taking an MCAT class, which is basically the test that you take to get into medical school. I'd had the work experience and some, really good people in my life that were able to vouch for the person that I was, and I did some volunteer work in hospitals, and so all of that put my package at a better place and just put me in a better place overall to get into medical school. After that, really, it wasn't until residency that I think I had really good female mentors in the field of medicine, and so that's the purpose of the book, is so maybe we can help identify people early on in someone's career so that they have a little bit maybe easier path.
The medical field is so vast. You went OBGYN. So what led you in that direction?
So again, when you go back to what I wanted to be when I grew up, pediatrician all the way. Love kids, still love the field of pediatrics, but luckily in medical school, and for most traditional paths for curriculum, during your third year you do rotations in all of the fields. And so I did psychiatry. I did really good in psychiatry, but I knew that wasn't for me. Internal medicine, wasn't as interested. Did surgery and loved operating. It was good with my hands, and was very interested, but I didn't feel like they really had as much continuity of care that I wanted to have a kind of a long-term relationship with my patients. And then I did OB, and it was just like a combination of everything that I wanted to do in life is, educate my patients, maybe be, more preventive in their healthcare, pathway. And then, the icing on the cake was delivering a baby, and then it was over. And then I did a pediatric rotation. I loved it, but it still wasn't enough. It didn't overweigh the OB.
You're in OB. Obviously, women's health is very important to you, and that's something that you talk about and teach often.
Yes. Love.
Give us a little background on that and why that's a passion for yours.
I don't know. It's just the thing that stuck with me. I feel like it's a calling. I feel like I've been good at it. My patients have been really receptive, and it's a great feeling when you can guide somebody either through a very difficult situation in their life, or really a very profound situation like having a child. But the educational component, because a lot of women, really don't know a whole lot about what their body is doing, and even as grown women. And so I've always found it very satisfying to be a part of someone's life along that journey of being healthy.
One other thing I don't want to talk about, explain to me what this Girlology is that you're part of.
So Girlology, very wonderful organization. There's a pediatrician and OBGYN that started it, and I was kind of came on at their ground roots portion of being people in a mother and a daughter's life, or a caregiver or someone, it may not always be a mother, in a young girl's life that can help them to appreciate their body, to love their body, to understand their body, and just feel empowered about all things being a woman. And so at that time when I started with Girlology, we were doing more of kind of speaking in the community with the mother and daughter together, kind of in a group-like setting, and making it a format so that girls feel comfortable about asking questions to whoever it is. You know, it may not be their mother, it may be another, you know, woman in their life, it may be their father. But to feel comfortable asking the important questions so that they don't need to necessarily go and talk to friends or get, you know, information of social media, and just feel empowered about the changes in their body and feel really comfortable.
I want to bring it back to the book now, The Game Plan, A Woman's Guide to Becoming a Doctor and Living a Life in Medicine. What do you want women, girls to most learn from this, and after they read it, take away from it?
I have a couple of takeaway points. Number one is, if it's a passion of yours, you can do it. There's always a way to do it. Might not be easy, but if it's your passion, and if you can identify that as, you know, your passion, your gift, your dream, then there shouldn't be anybody in your pathway that can deter you from doing that. Second is trying to find mentors, and making that really a priority. So even for high school girls that I talk to, you know, you may not always have people that just jump in your life and want to take you along the way. You may have to go out to seek those people out. So if you have a physician, you can always ask that doctor. If you have a doctor in your life, or a nurse, if you have obviously someone in your family, if you have a, and mentors don't always have to be somebody in your field. It can be someone that you respect, that you can ask questions that they may be able to seek the information out for you. But you can't always do it alone. And so seeking mentors, and then just realizing that, you know, along the way, for some of the women that, you know, are maybe in my situation in life, I signed up to be an OBGYN, but life may take you in different areas, and it may not be the end all and be all. And so I would like to, you know, women to know that you can branch out and do other things and still be able to practice under the realm of being an OBGYN or a physician, but touch people's lives in other ways. So the book was one of those.
All right, if people want to find out where they can get the book, find out more about you, how do they go about doing that?
Okay. So the book is on Amazon, so that's the easy way. Our website is adjlsllc.com. My website is drangela.walker.com, and you can find me on Instagram. I am Dr. Walker.
All right, Dr. Walker, I want to thank you so much for sharing with us along this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was an honor.